Liam, it's so great to see you back here at the Coliseum after everything you've been through. Unfortunately, won't be pitching in this series. How is the elbow, by the way?
It's getting there. I had cortisone PRP injection put in there, so we've just started our throwing program, and now it's just take it how it comes, and hopefully it progresses well.
And the elbow injury, probably nothing opposed to what you went through the first 6 months or so of this year. And I don't want to make you have to relive all of that. I imagine it was very traumatic. It had to have been. But what are the most important takeaways that stick with you from that entire experience? What are the things that you'll never forget or that you would want to share here?
Yeah, I mean, well, one, the elbow hurt more than having cancer.
Okay.
That was just a slow burn with everything else. But look, I think the thing I remember is just it's always difficult. Like there was times I was just sleeping at the hospital, so I didn't remember too much of that. There will be the sensation that I felt when the first time the chemo went in. It was like this little burn through your forearm because I had an IV. I was lucky enough not to have a port. But other than that, it's just been the support from everybody else. It's like seeing how many people have been affected by this. It's not something that kind of I expected it to be. I didn't realize it was like almost 1 in 2. I didn't realize that almost everybody I've ever come across has had someone affected by it, either themselves or their family members or a close friend or something. And it's just it's incredible, like the amount of people that reached out and support, and now I'm trying to pass that baton along.
Well, and you mentioned passing it along, going through cancer and the treatments. I imagine that's a very private thing. I mean, it's your most vulnerable moment in life, but you're a public figure. You've kind of had no choice but to share this. So now, is it really important for you to share that experience in reverse, what you went through?
Yeah, so one, we were really hoping while going through it that we would only have to do immunotherapy, and that would have been 4 separate treatments of each one a week apart, and I wouldn't have told anybody until it was already done.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I had to go through the chemo, and that was back-to-back days every 28 days, so it leached into spring training in the season, so we couldn't get away with that one. But yeah, I mean, I think awareness is the biggest thing I'm trying to raise now. Like, knowing that, being a public figure, being very open to talking about it, being very open with everything about the whole process, because it is a scary moment when you first get diagnosed or you're first going in for treatment. I want to make sure that if someone does come across an article or a video or anything like that, they can say, okay, well, he's gone through it, this is his experiences, I'm going to be fine, I know what to expect now, and just ease that burden a little bit on somebody, and then they're not as nervous while going in for that first treatment.
And because of the timing of all this, you finish your cancer treatments, and baseball season's already underway. So there is kind of that race to instantly transition back into baseball. Did that make it easier, or did that transition become tough for you?
It made it easier because I had something to focus on.
Yeah.
My last round of chemo was April 3rd and 4th, which happened to be our home opener.
Yeah.
So that made it a little bit easier to focus on something. That made it a little easier to push, but also probably you do push. You do end up trying to escalate and accelerate things. But the thing that I'm with baseball and everything like that, I was throwing bullpens the entire time while going through treatment. That helps so drastically.
Yeah.
Purely based on the fact that I had something to strive for, had something to push towards, and there was just that kind of, you always need something to focus on, like whether it be a hobby or whether it be something or other that gets you out of bed in the morning that you can, because that's what they say, like it's the stagnant that really can affect you negatively while going through treatment. It's always having something to do, always having something to look forward to, be positive towards, and also getting off the couch, because without baseball, I probably wouldn't have got off the couch. We have a comfortable couch, and I'm lazy as it is to begin with. So it's a bad combination. So they kept telling me, walk around, do stuff. So luckily I had a wife kicking me up the ass to get that done.
Christy's great.
Oh,
Christy's
she's great. The best. Absolute best.
You're a nice guy. Nobody should ever boo you on a baseball field. But I'm going to imagine now, people that know your story, even for the opposition teams, are somehow, some way rooting for you. You may never get booed again on a baseball field. You ever think about that?
Yeah, I've actually tried to think of ways to counteract that, because I enjoy being booed.
Excuse me?
I thrive off of it. I thrive off some sort of energy, and sometimes it's, whether it's good energy at home, whether it's negative energy on the road, or what, I need the raucous crowd. It does something to me. So yeah, it was really weird. I was in New York and playing the Yankees, coming in for my first ever save opportunity, and it was not the usual amount of booze. There was some in there. There was some sprinkled in, but generally it was just like a little bit more happy that I was playing,
Right,
and that was a
right.
very weird scenario.
They want to celebrate you.
Yeah, so naturally I
all
gave
right.
up a home run the first pitch I threw, and that got the crowd into a little bit more, and I was able to get out of it. But I need the crowd. I love the crowd. It's something that it does something inside you.
The AL Central is interesting this year. Okay, because no team in it has a winning record. But I mean, you guys are not far off from the lead. I know there's been some struggles. What's the internal perspective with the Chicago White Sox right now, and what you guys hope to do?
Look, obviously the Central isn't the strongest division, but it is what it is right now. I mean, we're not as an entire division, we're all sub 500.
Yeah.
But that just means that, we got off to a crappy start, but now we have a chance to really capitalize on being in a bad division where we've been gifted an opportunity to potentially make the playoffs because of the division. And I think that's something that we're all striving towards is just, look, don't look at the record, look at the games back.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to be like, oh, okay, we're 4.5 games back rather than, oh, we're whatever our record is and stuff like that. So, we're looking at it as a way from like, okay, we're 4 games back. It's like, I mean, you look at how many times, like, in 19 with the A's, we won like 93 games, something like that.
97.
97?
Yeah.
97. And it was one of those things where we were constantly like, okay, well, the record's what we're looking at because we were
Right.
We were trailing the Astros for a while of it. So that was the one thing that you look towards there. And now this for us is looking at the games back because, okay, this is the ground we need to make up. And that's why I think there's going to be a flip-flop between the Twins, the Guardians, us, the Tigers. I think there's going to be teams that are going to flip-flop throughout it because once you get up to leading the division, you're like, okay, you can't look behind you. That's a recipe for disaster. And you can't look at the record because no one's got a good one.
Yeah, right.
So now it's, okay, we're going to have to try and figure it out. It's going to be an interesting race down to the wire.
You mentioned the A's. Obviously, it's an interesting time in the other dugout. The team having the season it's having, but off the field, the franchise attempting to relocate to Las Vegas. You played here. You understand this community. Do you have any thoughts about that process in the works right now?
Well, on the field, I related to what we went through in 16, 17, where it was the rebuilding stage. They brought in some guys, they got some guys, and I think they're doing the same thing with some of the guys over there now. They're bringing them in to be veterans around the clubhouse and hopefully kind of work in the youngsters coming up.
Yeah.
Off the field, it's disappointing. Obviously, I love playing here. I love being a part of it. I love coming to the field every day. The fans that are right here every game, they are here every game, and they are energetic. They give everything they've got every single day. And it's unfortunate that it's come to this, but it's also been the writing on the wall for however many years. That was always the assumption was, hey, look, they're going to move in so-and-so and so-and-so. And that's something that everybody has always heard when they've come here for the last probably 15 years. It's unfortunate that it's happening. I don't think you can. It crushes me for the fans that come to the games.
Well, did you see the reverse boycott game a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, it was great. I loved it. I loved it. I mean, it just shows you that there is a very passionate fan base. They may not come out in droves like I think may have changed anything, but look, the ones that come here every game are very passionate. I mean, I still get Oakland fans reaching out to me all the time about just how's it going, and just literally just reaching out to see how I'm doing, and that's the sort of stuff that it's special. This place holds a special place in my heart, and I mean, I got asked the other day, what's your favorite stadium? Mine was the Coliseum.
Really?
Because I look at it from on the field stuff. One, that mound was probably the best in the league.
Yeah.
They do a great job with the playing service, especially now the football's gone. You don't have to worry about September sucking. I've also gone through some of the toughest periods of my career here. Yeah. Like I went through 2018 where I got designated for assignment. I got humbled. I went through 16, 17 where I was an egotistical asshole that was, and not in a positive way. And then I went through 19 where I became a egotistical narcissist and thrived on that. And but I was able to throttle it, and I was able to learn and
get you to an all-star game.
Exactly. I was able to kind of find out what works for me, and that's something that I will ever follow forever. And the people we've met along the way. I mean, whether it be workers at the stadium, whether it be coaching staff or players or anything like that, you build lasting memories, and now it's the nostalgia thing because I don't know how long it's going to be here.
So do you miss that group? I mean, the 18, 19, 20 group, and
Not so much 18 because I got DFA'd that year.
I mean,
but I do miss the 19 and 20 group.
That's a group people talk a lot about here still.
I was texting Marcus and Sean yesterday, both
in the All-Stars.
That's right. All-Stars coming up, and just texting with those guys about, like, I mean, it's great. Like, it's unfortunate because look at the team the A's could be building. Wow. And that's one thing, like, you look at it, like, take Marcus and myself out of it because we left in free agency, but the guys that have been traded away that still would be around, I mean, it could be a really good team, and I get the whole business side of things. You have to make it like kind of long term, and you have to think into the next couple of years. But I mean, we had some great time here, and I think everybody learns how to play baseball here. You learn how to go through a lot of things, and it's it definitely sculpts you here.
I'm so glad to see you healthy here. Can't wait to see you playing again. I want to end this interview by being a very shallow American and saying thank you to you and every Australian who brings us the TV show Bluey. We love that in our house. I know the words Diddums, Dunny, Pavlova, and I know what a bushwee is now, thanks to Bluey.
It's opened a ton of doors. I honestly, the most people are like, oh, you sound like. It's not you sound like you're from London anymore, for like forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Now they know you're an
Australian,
Bluey.
And now it's. I mean, I don't have kids. I can't say I've never watched Bluey. Bluey's been on in the background when it's just random stuff, but yeah, it's definitely the newer thing that people like to bring up a lot.
It's very Australian, just like you, Liam. Thank you so much for this.
Appreciate it, bro.
Appreciate you.